So far in the Beginner Poetry Crash Course series, we've covered anagrams and double entendres in that order. Now we're on episode 3 of the series, and we're going to be talking about palindromes. Now, what are palindromes? These are any word or phrase that can be read forwards and backwards and be the exact same word or phrase as before. All right. Now, there's multiple examples. I'll come up with single word examples real quick. There's mom, dad, kayak, boob, right? Like these are all palindromes. But there's also multi-word palindromes. For example, was it a cat I saw? Or borrow or rob. That's another one. Race car. There's another. Finally, never, odd, or even. These are some classic examples. There's plenty you can come up with on your own. These are just some ones you'll easily find when you look up palindrome on the internet. All right. Now, if palindromes sound in any way a bit familiar, it's probably because we mentioned a variant of a palindrome in the anagram video, that variant being Emordnilaps. Okay. And Emordnilap is any word that can be read in one direction to have a certain meaning, but it can also be read in the opposite direction to have a completely different meaning. All right. So the classic example I like to bring up would be deliver versus reviled. It's the same word, just read in the opposite direction. That is not the same as a palindrome, so I don't want you all to get that confused. Now, funny enough, an Emordnilap is actually an Emordnilap of the word palindrome. Pretty crazy, you know? So whoever came up with that is a genius. Unlike the previous 2 techniques we've mentioned earlier in the series, a palindrome is not actually going to help you very much in terms of the audible experience for your poetry. It's really going to go a long way, however, in improving the visual experience of your poetry. Someone's not just going to hear a palindrome and know it's a palindrome just from hearing it, unless they're like very familiar with the concept. More often than not, they're only going to be able to identify it upon seeing it on the page. So while the previous lessons I've given are typically pretty beneficial when it comes to spoken word poetry, palindromes, I would say use them primarily for your written poetry. Again, spoken word poetry, people are not likely to pick up on it, all right? And here's another thing. Although palindromes will help to improve the visual experience, it's not going to make or break your poem. So don't think that because you have palindromes in your poem, it's suddenly going to be a phenomenal piece of art. That's not the case. We're not trying to put icing on doo-doo. We're trying to put icing on cake. You feel me? So it's not going to save a bad poem. With that being said, I highly, highly advise you make use of them when it feels natural. All right. And I'm going to actually give you an example through a poem I wrote very recently where every single line of the poem has at least one palindrome. And I think you're going to enjoy this. So after listening, maybe you can incorporate this technique into your own art. Let's go. Everything mankind sees, every deer, reed of grass, the land, sky, and seas, whether it be rats, a star, things near or far, fish and bird, cat and dog, God created all. That includes us. He chose to name man Adam, and Adam named his woman Eve. We all share their DNA and their fate for what they ate. You see, God put our ancestral mom and dad in a garden where no lemon, no melon was off limits except the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil in Eden. I should mention that the devil lived as a snake in those days. He slithered to deliver a reviled lie to the mother of all life. God said to keep the fruit off of their radar or they'd die. But the snake made it seem like her cup of tea. Eat, he said with a sly tone. Revere not what God commands, for God knows that the fruit will grant knowledge on his level, and he doesn't want to share the top spot with you two. You and your spouse will not die. You will be deified. Drawn onward by the allure of the lie, the wife took a bite. She would refer the fruit to her husband, who gave it a try. Not a ton of time passed, maybe a moment or two, before their spiritual death ensued. The two did a deed that they couldn't undo. No SOS could be made in the wake of their mistake. Their eyes were opened, and all they saw was their nakedness, exposed skin as a sign of exposed sin. Then they thought, if we sew fig leaves together, we'll wear them as garments, as sad as that may seem. God chose to pull up to the garden and question them. The madam Adam named was the woman he blamed. Even Eve shifted blame just the same to avoid the shame, pointing to the snake as if to say her sin is his mistake. God punished both sexes, cursed the serpent, and cast the couple from Eden for what they should have never even eaten. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you in the next lesson.